Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody, but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how strait the gate, how charged the punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate, and I am the captain. Yes, I am the captain of my soul. Invictus. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, business owners, my fellow citizens. My name is Daryl Guberman. I'm the CEO of Guberman PMC LLC. We've been open 11 years, assisting companies in consultation, also quality certification in the International Standards Organization arena. I would like to thank those people, my customers, all of you in general, but those who assisted with my nomination submission, which I was a nominee for the American National Standards Institute, and here we go. Business owners, I'm going to be reading you just one letter today, and this video is about letters to ANSI's nomination committee, and Russ Chaney, chair, proves their sham. Now, I didn't know it at the time until I got the questionnaire, 9 questions that they want to know what it is that I would bring to the table, or any individual would bring to the table to assist ANSI with their goals and aspirations and push them to the next level. Well, if you take a look at this, you'll find Russ Chaney. Let me just pull it back a little. You'll find Russ Chaney there. In 2019, I didn't know who he was. He called me up. He left me a very distasteful voicemail recording that I will get into very shortly. I want to first thank Rich, Matt, Sam, Val, Ralph, Walt, Joe, Kel, Jackie, Jim M, Jack, Mr. F, of course, Joe, Jim, Walt J, Lorraine, and Mark. The letter I chose is from Lorraine because she hits the crux of what this quality issue is, why it's a sham, what's happening in the world of quality. You will see as I progress what is going on. In 2013, I gave a speech at the American Society for Quality. There was a Region 3 director there, a Mr. David Levy. He was sent there to destroy me, to discredit me, to disparage me in front of quality professionals, and he could not do it. In fact, he came up and he told me this. You'll see the same sort of verbiage I'm telling you now in another video. I was there. I was getting pop-shotted by the quality professionals concerning quality certification, how it was out of control in 2013. It's only metastasized and have gotten worse. David Levy was the Region 3 director of the ASQ. At that time, the American Society for Quality and ANSI, the American National Standard Institute, owned ANAB, the accreditation body, the American National Accrediting Board, 50-50. So when he gave us, he told me something that had a lot of weight to it. Well, we had it videotaped, and this is what Mr. Levy said to me when we were discussing about quality certification. And this is what he said.
There is no restriction on you doing business unaccredited or accredited. And as I said before, why has no problem with you doing what that's wrong. You're wrong. To support you, sir. You're wrong.
They support me, sir. That's exactly what he said. And I'm sure you read it. But once again, he said, Dave Levy said, there is no restriction on you doing business unaccredited or accredited. And as I said before, ANAB has no problem with what you're doing. In fact, we support you, sir. Let's continue. Randy Doherty at the time was a technical advisor of ANAB, and he was also the chair. Well, actually, he was the principal on the International Accreditation Forum Incorporated in Delaware. I'll let you read that. He invited us to join either ANAB or IAF. But you will see, as this onion gets peeled, you will see why I, as a proud American, did not choose to join them, nor would I. Independence is where it's at. And there is no restriction, as you heard, from Dave Levy, who owned, his organization to own ANAB 50%, the accreditation body that Randy asked me to join at the time. They owned ANAB 50%. Let's give you a little bit of background on this. I apologize for the length of this video, but you're going to hear this letter and say, oh my goodness. ANSI, the American National Standards Institute, is a private, not-for-profit, non-governmental organization having both federal agencies and corporations on board. In 2015, Randy Doherty, the Vice President of ANAB, Chairman of the IAF, handed over leadership to this Communist Chinese national, Zhao Jinwu, who is also the chief executive on the China National Accreditation Services, which certify the suspect lab in Wuhan, China. We have all the documentation. Randy was also, as I said, the principal on the International Accreditation Forum Incorporated in Delaware. The Chinese national, Zhao Jinwu, is forced to submit to China through Chinese intelligence article number 7, which mandates espionage. You have ANSI and ANAB. ANSI took over complete control over ANAB in 2018, and you have federal agencies and corporations on board. Now, I did a little expose in 2019 concerning laboratory accreditation, and you'll see that on videos down below. I'm not going to waste your time. And what happened is I said that A2LA, which is an accreditation body for laboratory, was sitting on ANSI's board, which is now the roster. It's the member roster board. Well, at that time, it was the members of management, which meant that I think, as any members of management would have, is they had a little bit of input involved with what ANSI was doing. A2LA also sat at the time on the IAF, International Accreditation Forum, incorporated in Delaware, so run by a communist Chinese national. Let me go into this a little bit further, too, about Randy. Randy, in 2017, Randy sat on the Department of Homeland Security, being advertised as the vice president of ANAB for a certain accreditation that they were offering. And the DHS, Department of Homeland Security, had Randy on there. It's a little bit strange. That's like advertising for a supermarket or Walmart being advertised. That was basically it, because ANAB and ANSI are private, not-for-profit organizations which federal agencies should not advertise on their website, unless somebody could tell me at the bottom where they changed that legislation. As a matter of fact, I know because I exposed it, and they took Randy down from the DHS. On the DHS, there was a gentleman who was getting, and here he is. I have to show you this. He sat on ANSI's board, a Mr. Philip Matheson, and his title was Executive Director of Office Standards, U.S. Department of Homeland Security, $262,814, and at that time it was considered a royalty payment, which means, from what I gathered, no taxes taken out of that money on top of his federal salary. At the time also, the Department of Homeland Security sat on ANSI, and both ANSI and ANAB, and you will see this, ANSI and ANAB sat on the IAF, which has been controlled by no other than Communist China, which means the Department of Homeland Security didn't keep us secure in reality. So I did this video. I did the video on A2LA, and I had this lady, Ashley Morton, write back, and she said this. She said that A2LA does not sit on ANSI, and they are both American accreditation bodies in equal standing. Well, I did another video. I exposed the fact, yes, A2LA does sit on ANSI. And that evening, after I did that video, I get a call from this guy who I had no clue who he was. I didn't know from Russ Chaney. I didn't know at all. Who the heck is this guy? Well, this is who the guy is. And by the way, As I showed you, business owners and my fellow citizens, Russ Chaney is the chairman of the nomination committee. I showed you that in the beginning of this video. So let me bring him out. Here's Russ Chaney, who at the time was the president of the IAMPO, which was his organization, that his company that he was the chairman of, or the president of. So let me play this file for you.
This is Russ Chaney. Please leave a message and I'll return your call as soon as possible. Record your...
Yes, he did say half a nut, fuck you. So what I did was, I want to show you this too. Here's Russ Chaney sitting in the chambers with no other than Wilbur Ross. At the time, he was the head of the Department of Commerce. And here's Russ Chaney. Isn't that nice? I wonder where he learned half a nut, fuck you from. Maybe at a dinner engagement. Maybe Wilbur was teaching him that language. Who the heck knows? So what I did, business owners, is I sent a letter to Joe Battia. Joe Battia is the CEO of ANSI. And I think he escaped today. I think he didn't want to be on camera, so be it. Joe Battia sent that letter to their lawyer, Jameson Carroll. Jameson Carroll, in turn, wrote me back a nice little letter. Jameson Carroll said this, and it was just absolutely appalling that it's actually funny, because this is what Jameson Carroll said about Russ Chaney's audio file.
This is Russ Chaney. Please leave a message and I'll return your call as soon as possible. Record your...
Yes, Jameson, he did say half a nut, fuck you. Why don't you go home to your wife tonight and tell her that and ask her, was that romantic, honey? Unbelievable. Anyway, we're going to move on with Lorraine's letter, because her letter really speaks volumes concerning my nomination. And here it goes. Dear Ms. Constantopoulos, my name is Lorraine. I was formerly the general manager at Blank Company in New York. I was employed there for 23 years. Mr. Daryl Guberman asked me to write a nomination letter for him. He is one of the finest people I have come to know in my 23 years in business. He is intelligent, a walking technical manual in many disciplines, and added to this is his wonderful personality. I would not refuse writing a letter for this man. He told me and showed me that ANSI nominates their members. What a foolish thing to do when Daryl should be nominated without reservation. Let me begin the meeting of Mr. Daryl Guberman. I had just been audited by QAS International, our register for 10 years. The person that audited didn't have a clue what she was looking and gave us stupid rejections that didn't have improved our shop. I felt like I was in English class and the auditor was the teacher criticizing the paper I wrote. My quality manual and procedures I turned to fellow business associates who were in the wire straightening business. They had told me about Daryl Guberman and how great a process they experienced in their implementation of ISO 9001 certification. They gave me his number and I called him. Daryl paid a visit to me and explained the methods of implementation and certification. He never demeaned his competition, but he told me that QAS International was sued for being bogus by UKS, an accreditation body in England. Daryl told me his competitor, ANSI ASQ ANAP, now it's ANSI ANAP as of 2018, said on their website that they did not recognize QAS now or in the future. I never knew this for the 10 years I was with them. Daryl told me about GPMC LLC being independent from the larger body ANSI ASQ ANAP, that in company procedures and supplier requirements at Lockheed Martin and Boeing and even the government, they were called out. I asked him, where is the competition? He showed me documents proving this to be true. Daryl also showed me the ISO website, which spoke about accredited and unaccredited. He wrapped up our meeting in showing me his ASQ speech in 2013, where a senior official of ANAB said to him that ANAB had no problem with what he was doing and ANAB supported him in what he is doing. The video solidified my transferring from QAS International to GPMC LLC. When you have a major accreditation body senior member overwhelmingly giving Daryl his approval, this impressed me. Daryl told me, though, he was verbally approved by the senior manager of ANSI, which owned ANAB 50%, but never passed it up the chain of command. He told me about a guy in Florida that wrote about him being unofficial, certificate mill, and unaccredited. He also told me about his invitation of former President Bill Clinton to his ASQ speech. Daryl explained that both Bill and Hillary were over his house because his mom was quite involved with politics in 1971. He further went on to say that Bill and Hillary were quite close to his family and showed me several letters, including a condolence letter from them when his mom passed. The last item of importance, Daryl showed me several years after transferring over from QAS, there was an email from Randy Dodry, 2016. I think that was his name. He was a senior member of ANAB and I think the IAF. He sent an invitation letter to Daryl and inviting him to join either ANAB or IAF or both. Daryl told me because he refused the IAF in 2015 because it was handed off to a communist national who had been involved with our quality since 1994. I thought about my relatives who were in the military and were quite upset after Daryl told me the IAF was incorporated in Delaware. I was so honored that Daryl had the wherewithal not to join because of his pride being an American. He had showed me that these affiliations are cybersecurity risk. The day after he spoke to me, an article came out in New York Times about China hacking major U.S. military suppliers and getting their data. I would like to nominate Daryl Guberman, CEO of Guberman PMC, as a member of ANSI board. He showed me ANSI requirements to pick ANSI members. After dealing with Daryl, I think it would be an injustice to only pick a member because they are part of ANSI. With quality issues plaguing all industries, a man of Daryl's caliber is needed to start cleaning and clearing this mess up. He is the man that can change your organization for the better. I, without hesitation, nominate Mr. Daryl Guberman to the 2022 ANSI board. You will not regret his nomination. Sincerely, Lorraine. Well, I have the item here, the actual web page from the bogus certification of QAS International. I have UKAS, which is a accreditation body sitting on the IAF incorporated in Delaware. And here it is, UKAS approves QAS later on because QAS sits on the Malaysian accreditation body, which also sits on the IAF. And here is the actual commentary. I'll hold it there for a moment. This is the actual commentary that came off ANAB's website at one time. And this is what it said. Non-accredited organizations. Occasionally, non-accredited organizations claim to be accredited or imply that they are accredited. ANAB takes all possible steps to rectify such misinterpretations. QAS is not an ANAB accredited certification body registrar. Because QAS has misrepresented its accreditation status, and because of issues related to marketing and consulting services with registration services, ANAB will not accept an application for accreditation from QAS, and QAS will not be able to become accredited by ANAB. ANAB has no relationship with QAS. So, this is what happened. UKAS, which is equivalent to ANAB because it's an IAF MLA, multilateral arrangement or agreement organization. QAS certified or gave them accreditation to their certification. Isn't that nice and sweet? My telephone number is 203-556-1493. And you can reach me at Daryl, TQRS, at yahoo.com. And I do this, and I am sorry for the length of this, but this video is letters to ANSI nomination committee, and Russ Chaney, chairman, proves their sham. And yes, business owners, it certainly does. Again, do not hesitate to contact me. I am always there for you, my customers, and my prospective customers, and for you, are great citizens of this country. Again, 203-556-1493, and I thank you.